Well, it's well into October. It's the time of the Halloween trick or treats. We're getting close to that. The holiday season is just around the corner. You know, you could start to smell all that Christmas merchandise starting to get into the stores, next to the Halloween candy, which hopefully I'll have a bag of that soon for myself. Thank you for tuning in. You may ask yourself, what's on the agenda tonight? Well, we'll be looking at the anime psychological thriller. We'll be looking back at one of the greatest animes that really not too many people are talking about. It is a great film. Back when this movie was released, it was touted as if Hitchcock and Disney joined forces, they would have made this particular movie. It is really good. Lately, a lot of YouTubers have been discussing this movie, has been delving into what they think of this movie, the ending, the initial plot of this movie, what they think of it, why that they enjoyed it, because it is a great film. And, you know, we need to be talking more about films like this because basically Hollywood does not make this up. Even though Japan still makes good anime movies like this. In our Off My Video shelf this week, we will be looking at also another anime from Japan. It is a horror that has similarities to some of the great horror films such as Alien. That has been out. Alien, Creature, yeah, so many films that this you could tout back to, and it is a really, really good horror flick on there. And I'll tell you, more people should be talking about this one. And of course, we'll be touching in with the Fast Five, letting you know what has been going on this month as far as the news. We will check in with you, the viewer. What's on your mind? Your comments and mentions for the week. And we will be touching also based on some of our Odyssey subscribers, as they've been starting to comment over at Odyssey as well. And of course, we will be checking in with Svengoolie. me-TV has chosen on Svengoolie to do a Frankenstein month. So which Frankenstein movie is on this week on Svengoolie? And we'll be checking in with him as well. All that and a little just more. So get ready. We're about to board the flight back to the classics here on Saturday Pre-Flight, starting right now. Well, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, share. It is the exactly first full week of October. And yeah, like I said, the fall leaves are coming. Temperature's starting to change. It hasn't changed too much here on the East Coast. We're still ramping about a bit in the 60s to 70s, and the nights are nice and cool on there. We don't have to use the air conditioner too much, and we can open our windows a bit. And it is amazing some of the things we hear, some of the comments you've given us, and we're learning a lot. We're learning a lot here on Saturday Pre-Flight. And tonight is going to be no different as far as the show. We are moving over from Germany to Japan. From last week we were in Germany. This week we will be in Japan looking at two animes, two very good animes. One a psychological thriller, the other one a horror. To give us a little bit of horror cheer in this month of Halloween. So, before we start, let's find out what's going on out there in the news with the Fast Five.
her. When her secret finds its way out, it'll be the death of you.
I recommend my listeners try to ignore it and focus on the ones top of the charts. Isn't this a little extreme?
But we can soften the fall.
So what's the plan?
Many years from now, if humanity is to climb from the ashes,
the 1990s. Let me tell you something. It was a great time for anime. I mean, the internet was just growing, and we were just finding out there's so much great stuff out there as far as anime. You know, one thing about me, I've always said this before, as I was growing up, my anime fixes was Nippon Television on channel 47 here in New York City. Basically, on Saturday nights, we got our anime fix that way. The other way, we used to have to get bootlegs down in Chinatown of this stuff. But now, the networks and independent stations, as cable was growing at a tremendous level at this point, was starting to look at anime itself and started to put out some great stuff out on the networks. They were picking up stuff from Japan. I mean, you had stuff like the Dragon Ball and Pokemon, the Sailor Moon, the Gundam series. I mean, you had so much Cowboy Bebop, Yu Yu Hakusho, and all that. And it was a great time to be around if you were an anime fan, if you were able to watch anime, if you were just being born in this time period. You have not realized how big anime had become by this point. And then the big thing happened. The one thing that pushed anime to the next level.
This broadcast is intended solely for the enjoyment of our audiences.
It's right. Cartoon Network brought out Toonami. Toonami, a great place for afternoon blocks. They had a midnight's run, and I think it was Saturday or Sunday block on there, about almost mid-afternoon on there. And they brought out the Dragon Ball and the Gundam, and you know they even had some of the American stuff, the Thundercats, and a couple others. Every day after school, on the weekends, anime was getting, its due. I mean, networks like the Warner Brothers Network, the WB had started doing theirs, and many others started putting out content for Saturdays and weekday lineups when cartoons were flooded throughout. But now, it's not like it used to be. MeTV has brought back the Saturday morning cartoon. One of the reasons that you had the U.S. government put out that we need more education on Saturday morning properties, the networks turned away from cartoons and anime and put out just basically educational stuff, which that's not what we needed. The kids didn't need that. They needed something to cleanse the mind, as you would say. They would just cleanse the mind of all these things. Some of my favorite stuff was the Neon Genesis Evangelion and the Gundams and the Cowboy Bebops. And I watched that constantly. Big O, something that most people don't even talk too much about anymore. Big O was a great series. I talked to someone in the chat room as far as that. But there was tons of movies out there as well. And one of them we're going to be discussing tonight. It is a great film. Some people were touting it as if Disney and Hitchcock got together and made a movie, and this would be it. Some people saying, no, this takes away from the Hitchcockian era because of the way it's done. But in all, it was a fantastic film. Today on YouTube, you can find a slew of videos breaking down, and it's great to hear everybody else's thoughts of this. They're putting in their 2 cents of what they think of the movie itself, the plot, the characters, because that has make you think. And you have to put it to the perspective of the premise of the whole thing. Is you could put this plot with about most of the films you would see probably on a Lifetime or HBO or even in your local theaters, and there have been sort of knockoffs of this movie. It did inspire a major motion picture in 2010, which we'll go over in a little bit, and a particular 80s singer used clips in remakes of her song during her tour in 2001. This shows how popular this was. The visuals are fantastic. The plot line is very good. And the movie I'm talking about is Perfect Blue. It's a psychological thriller. It's directed by Satoshi Kon, which was basically based on a novel called Perfect Blue: Complete Metamorphosis by Yoshikazu Takeuchi. And it is a, it's well made. It's a well made psychological thriller. As we talked before about the birth of the psychological thriller was back in Germany with the movie M by Fritz Lang, which is also a fantastic film. If you didn't get to watch that episode of Saturday Pre-Flight, do catch it. It's another good film. See, the thing about the psychological films, you have to have a good presence to it. You have to good atmosphere to the film itself, whether it's animated, anime, or if it's live action. If you don't have the right lighting, the right texture, stuff like that, it doesn't work. Perfect Blue shows it by using color, which you would not believe in a psychological thriller the way this was made at the time period. But you've had others down the line that sort of copied this kind of look as far as the using certain colors like red. Red was like a big thing if you ever saw The Sixth Sense. That was a use of color schemes in a movie like that. Now the main premise, it follows a Japanese pop idol, part of a group. Her name is Mima, and she decides she's going to retire from the music industry. What is that? Who does that sound like? About a lot of others that have done the same thing. And she's producing this acting career, and the thing about it is she's being stalked by a fan who disapproves of her change from music to acting, and some murders start to occur. And the thing about this, the great thing about this, and this is where we bring in the Hitchcockian point of view, is the way the scenery is done as far as what is going on. Mima, the main character, starts to lose her grip on reality. I mean, there are some great scenes in here where you can't tell where she was acting on a TV series and her reality. They sort of almost clash in certain ways. And at points you're like, is this the TV series or is this actually happening? And this happens throughout the entire film. And it sort of brings up, stuff. It sort of harks back to stuff like Vertigo and Psycho and Stage Fright, Saboteur, The Lady Vanishes. You can go on and look, at film history and see some of the relevance of this particular film throws back to. and some of the stuff that, to even to present day that you can look at, that this could happen. And we've seen other films like this. I mean, you could hark back to, there was a movie, two movies come to mind. 1996, The Fan, with De Niro and Wesley Snipes. And then there's the 1980 movie, Fade to Black, about obsessive fans going after people that they big fans of. And in a way, this is, you see this. And like I said, there are many films out there that do hark, both past and present, that hark upon this type of nature. And you might say, well, a lot of people have done this and all that. No, take a moment to watch this. And like I said, the moments of knowing what is reality and what is fantasy brings it up to, a big height level, especially the points, and not to give too much away, that basically the psychosis of where basically she's looking online at chat rooms, Mima, and she's seeing like people post stuff that they would think that she's doing at this time period. You've seen that on Reddit, and you've seen that on many other sites. That hey, listen, this person's doing this now. I would think they're on there. Real fan sites like that. And this, you have where the fan is somebody's exactly detailing her day, that she went shopping, she picked up this particular food. I mean, is this a stalker, a really bad stalker, or is it Mima herself that's doing this? Is she the killer? Is she not the killer? Is there a stalker out there? And, there are a lot of hints to this. Some people say that, that the director gave a little bit away on that. No, I don't think so. I think the emphasis is you have to look into the perspective of everything around you. Yes, if you look carefully, you could pick up the clues. You could pick up, the points that what is going on. How are these murders occurring? But are these murders part of her real life, or is it part of her star persona of the series she's working on? And she's working on some Law and Order series where basically, in fact, there is a drapey scene in there which basically sends certain fan members cringing, because they wouldn't think that she's a very sweet woman. Why would she do something to this nature on there? And it basically, the scene itself, you have to see it. It's, and like I said, it's brilliantly done the way it is. The atmosphere itself, the color of the way it's put through. I mean, from the scenes that you see on there, you start to look very carefully. The background, the foreground, everything around you is very important to the mystery of this movie. I mean, it is very good. Everything from Double Bind, which is the name of the series that she has the part in, to her stage stuff, to the music, to the people around that talk about her. I mean, that's one great thing about this. And I was just watching the Squid Game, and which I thoroughly enjoyed on there. It had a couple of issues, but hey, listen, things have issues these days. You don't get the perspective of how is people feeling to the perspective of what's going on and the people around them on here. Some movies do that, but they don't spend too much time on that. When you look into the perspective on Perfect Blue, you're seeing people commenting on what's going on via chat or live act, or at a concert to the situation, and you're looking on how they're feeling of what is Mima doing in her life. Is it good? Is it bad? The rumors, and I mean, the first few minutes of it, listen to the people that are in the crowd in the first concert part of the movie. And it's very interesting on how it is done, and it's done very well. You know, you get the feeling all the way around of everybody, you know, on there, including one person who is taken a bit of, as how can you say it, a very strong interest into the concert itself. Now, could this be the stalker? Maybe. Now, a live-action version of this was made in 2002, Perfect Blue, Yumi Nara Samite. I never seen it myself. It was directed by Toshi Sato, and it was based on the Perfect Blue Kazan hentai by, which was released in the same year. So it was a bit different from the on there, but like I said, I didn't see it on itself. You know, in the last couple of years, I just found out that this was available on there. You know, one thing, the live action adaptations, you know, stuff that goes back to the 80s, the 90s, and the early 2000s. You know, it's not like today where you see, you know, a ton of it's flooding into, you know, app sites like Netflix. I mean, Netflix has a lot. Kagaguri, which is one of them, which I do like. That one's really good. And of course, you know, you have the Full Metal Alchemist and a couple others. You know, I mean, we're not going to talk about Cowboy Bebop, please. That's a different story in itself, and that's not really a Japanese anime adaptation. Now, Perfect Blue premiered August 5th, 1997 at the Film Festival in Montreal, Canada, the Fantasia. And, you know, it basically had a mixed reviews on that. It generally was released in 98 in Japan. And I think it came over here a little time later. Of course, there are DVD, Blu-ray releases on there. Back when Encore, and today you know it as Stars, they ran it for a while, and so did the Sci-Fi Channel in 2007. You know, so when Sci-Fi Channel was Sci-Fi Channel, and of course it had other networks throughout the world, Australia and UK, South America. You know, they all ran this movie, and a lot of fans of anime was enjoying the movie. If you go over to Rotten Tomatoes, which, you know, generally I don't trust on there, but in this case, it is certified fresh. It's still holding an 80% as far as reviewers, and almost a 90% audience score. This goes to show it is a very well made movie. I mean, when you have reviews like strange, stylish, and intelligent, this is a rare anime film that delivers an Eastern promise. Perfect Blue is an artistic and technical masterpiece. However, what the utmost importance is the fact that Satoshi Kon never deteriorate from the high standards he set here in his first project that was entirely his own. And that's true. I mean, this is the directorial debut of Satoshi Kon. And if you're not familiar with him, is a man who gave us Tokyo Godfathers, Paprika, Millennium Actress, and of course one of my favorites, Paranoia Agent. If you haven't seen Paranoia Agent, that's another. If you like the psychological thrillers in Perfect Blue, you'll love Paranoid Agent. It is a 13-episode series, very well done as well. I think every once in a blue, Toonami, you know, Cartoon Network will bring this one back out. I think the last time it was out, I think it was 2020 or 2019 that they ran this. And then, of course, you know, he's also known for JoJo Bizarre Adventure as well. He did a couple of episodes for that. And, you know, this is, like I said, this is his directorial, you know, his debut in the business. And when you hear that most of the critics loved his style and enjoyed the movie itself, you know, you see where the critics have changed when it comes to anime today. The quality is still very good today. If anything, it has majorly improved. as far as animation. Stories have gotten better. I mean, we see, you see stories where companies have taken mangas and created their own animation studio. When you have animes like Mushoku Tensei, excuse my on there, which they have their own studio and it's beautifully done. I mean, you see the change up that the when I tell you movies, whether they're animated, not animated, they're works of art. Is Perfect Blue a work of art? Oh, absolutely. It is a work of art and it should be appreciated. And to tell you how popular that this movie was, Madonna incorporated clips into a remix of a song of What It Feels Like for a Girl, as an interlude during the Drowned World Tour. And also, American filmmaker Darren Aronofsky had similarities to this plot line in his 2010 film Black Swan. That it was inspired by Perfect Blue, if you haven't seen Black Swan yet. And not only that, Aronofsky used a scene from Perfect Blue. He remade it in another movie in the 2000 called Requiem for a Dream. So, this is Perfect Blue has inspired many different people to add it to their films. And it's just more recently that Aronofsky has been mentioning that, this was his inspiration for this. And, when you look into the perspective that if a movie like this can inspire many other people to do things with, whether they use pieces of the movie or they recreate a scene from the movie or several elements added into the story, that's a good thing. In some ways, it's not really copying unless you're doing a reboot, radical remake for the modern era, as they say. It's homage to the fans, which he is a fan of it as well. Now the novels are still out there, I think through Seven Seas Entertainment. Do check those out. I do recommend you do that. And I'll tell you, it's available. Perfect Blue is out in various different formats out there, DVD to Blu-ray, which I do own. And I recommend, do get to see this. You will enjoy this. I mean, it will keep you on the edge of your seat. I mean, you have like iFilm, who named it the scariest anime film ever. Like I said, it will keep you on your seat, keep you on your toes to find out what is the ending of this movie. I mean, like I said, it has a really good ending, and that you always have to have a good ending. I mean, there are movies out there. I mean, there even TV series, Midnight Mass, which is on Netflix right now. My wife saw it. She said toward the end of it, it fell apart. It was a good premise, good elements to it, but then it got toward the end. It just literally, they forgot what they were trying to put out as far as a TV series, as a horror TV series. So that's Perfect Blue. You can get it locally. If you watch at the end of this video, we will give you a place where you'll be able to find it as well. On all of our videos, whatever movie soundtrack that we talk about in the particular episode, we will put it at the tail end, let you know where you could find it easily. Click over and get it on there. Of anything, eBay is always the best as far as that, because most of the time you don't want the other companies to really get your money for the way they've been acting lately. So let's take a look at what's on my video shelf as we look at a anime horror, continuing the anime Japan look at in this October month. Well, on my video shelf this week, we bring you the 1987 sci-fi horror anime, Lily Cat. Film directed by Hiroyuki Toriyama, who is also known, he's best known for Science Ninja Team Gotcha Man, which, you know, is G-Force on that, the Japanese version of that. Also featuring monster designs from Yoshitaka Amuro, who basically did the 60s adaptation of Speed Racer, and character designs from Yasunori Uto, who also worked on the Kite series. This happens to be a good movie. If you love The Thing, Alien, The Uninvited, you'll love this movie. You'll really, truly love this movie because it harks to those. Another one is Creature. It is a really good plot. It's well done. I mean, some people say it's a little cheesy to the situation. No, it's not. I mean, there are people out there who did criticize it as but it was a time period, horror. There was a lot of horror in the 80s and the 90s. I mean, they were pumping out horror films, like a machine, left and right. You're always seeing something new on VHS at the time. Almost said DVD, VHS. There is a documentary coming out that the third part of Into Darkness that explains of the movies that have been forgotten from that era that went straight to VHS, didn't get theatrical release, and is forgotten. And some of them were good, some of them were crazy, some of them were just totally batshit insane. Now, the main plot of this is that it is the 23rd century, and now there are companies that are fighting for mining rights throughout the galaxy. The main company is a company called Sincam, and they're sending deep explorers to investigate new planets, new surveys, and of course, obviously, people starting to move on into space to live on these worlds. The main characters in here, I'll give you the main character names. Captain Mike Hamilton, Jiro Taji, Nancy Strauss, Dick Berry, Farah, Doulard DeClasse, Walt Coop, Gaia Cluen, and a couple of others are the crew members aboard this ill-fated ship. And they're put into a cryosleep for about 20 years, which from a technical aspect, it will only age them for about a month. They will only age about a month for 20 years. Now, during the sleep, the ship itself is on auto, and it comes across some extraterrestrial matter, which it starts to take samples of. And what happens is the matter itself becomes loose in the ship accidentally while they're sleeping. When they come out of the cryo sleep, as they're getting closer to the destination, the crews start to die one by one. And the bodies start to mysteriously disappear as well, leaving their clothes behind. So we're wondering what is going on as far as this. Not only that, they receive information that there are two people aboard that are not who they say they are. And unfortunately, that information is unknown. Who are the two people? Do we have saboteurs aboard, criminals? Because there are references where they said there are some criminals who will jump these ships to get away from their crimes. 20 years in the sleep, their crimes are no longer valid when they awaken, and that's also a possibility to the point. But not to get too far into it, between that and the reason why it's called Lily Cat, there is a cat in here that comes around everyone. One of the main characters, it's her pet cat. But there are scenes that the cat asks very unusual and is in multiple places simultaneously. Why? And what we find out is that, not to give too much, that we have an alien creature that is aboard that is, let's say, absorbing the crew itself one by one. And like I said, it is a good film. It is well done. It's not too long. The runtime is about 67 minutes. Not too long of a film. I remember seeing the first time I saw this was on the Sci-Fi Channel back in the, what was it, mid 90s, late 80s, mid 90s. I think that was the first time. This came out in 87, and we got an English version somewhere around that time period. And I loved it. I mean, even with the commercial breaks and everything like that, it did hark back to The Thing, and we're talking the 1982 Thing, not the original Thing. Which I always say the original Thing with James Arness was always a great film, underrated. Most people say, "Oh, I love The Thing." John Carpenter did a good job in remaking this, and he had a good script, a good kick-ass soundtrack. You always have to have a good soundtrack to the movie, a good acting. That's the way it's going. If you're going to do a reboot, that's the way it's going to work. Not to the politics that people put on today, but going back to the Arness version, yes, the 82 had atmosphere to the situation, but being black and white and the way the lighting effects and stuff like that, you had a bit of a darkness. You're dealing with hallways just like the 82, but the black and white brings it out better. And especially the jump scenes. See, the major difference with 82 versus the original is that you had a creature roaming around who was if you ever see James Arness, very tall actor. And to see, something towering over you of this nature when you open the door is just frightening and stuff. I mean, there's that scene where they open the door, there's James Arness, and he's like, he throws his arm, and they slam that door on his arm, trying to hold him from getting in. And now the major difference is, remember this, even though they didn't show it, but it's in the emphasis of your mind, like similar to Chainsaw Massacre. The Thing in the original Thing, yes, both movies, they dealt with blood situations, but what the thing in the original was using it to feed and to procreate with. That was scary in itself. But when you look to the perspective that the 82 film has similar elements to Lily Cat, and so did Alien as well, as far as being trapped on a ship that you don't know where this creature is going to come out on. It made for the best of itself. There's plenty of horror out there, and we're about to get some more. Junta Ito is coming out with one of his series coming to Toonami next year, which already the trailer looks very nice. It looks very good on there. And I know he's just came out with another manga right now. Another horror manga just came out by him. His stuff is really good. The Tomy stuff is also good. I mentioned this before. My wife has the Tomy t-shirt. She loves it. One thing about Asia when it comes to horror, whether it's Japan, whether it's Korea, all the other countries there, they take nightmares and expand it. Like ghosts. They love doing ghost stories on there, and it makes scary. And you've seen them copy it. They've seen Ring You, which is The Ring, on there, and a couple of other films that they've done, which they've copied over from Asia and brought to the U.S. on there. And some of them are like Ring. The original Ring they did a good job on there. Sequels didn't do well on there, and the remakes are horrible right now. They're really horrible. They just don't get the aspects of what the original Japanese director wanted. as far as that, and the person who wrote the script. You know, they're trying to emphasize everything for the modern era. You know, keep saying this, you know, because everyone thinks the modern era. Stop thinking of the modern era. Think of the time period that it was written in and put it to that aspect. And I think you would do a better justice to the product in that film if you're going to create something of that nature. Stop making it for today. Stop making it for the politics of today. You know, this is why I keep saying, with movies like Blazing Saddles, Gone with the Wind, and many others, they say, well, we can't make movies like that. Who says so? Some politicians or some activists saying that, hey, you know, we can't make this today because people won't like it because of, you know, that, you know, it's very discriminatory, stuff like that. You know, so that means you can't make anything from the past, you know, for that era. You know, times were different then. You know, the thing about today, we've been not doing well politically as far as our product, as far as our, you know, we shouldn't be political in our TV shows, movies, novels, unless it's a political show or you know, or if it's a political concept. You know, stop waving that flag for, you know, saying, well, look, I have a gay person over here, or I have someone of minority. No, that's not what people are looking for. They're looking for good stories, concepts. In case of a horror, you want to be scared. You want to be kept on your seats. You know, you want to be frightened. That's the one thing, is you want to be frightened if you want to go on a horror film, not to sit there and laugh at it. You know, that's why I said, you know, we had that episode, when is a sequel one too many? You know, we've gone through how many Friday the 13th we've gone through, how many Halloweens. We don't need those movies anymore. We don't. We treat them like, hey, yeah, that. You know, when we first saw it, it was frightening. Now it's like, oh yeah, go get her, you know, go get that, yay, you know, you're treating it as a joke. You know, I hope that Lily Cat doesn't fall into that premise, that someone will take it along the line and start to do it, start to remake it the way it is. But, you know, you never know. Like I said, this movie has been copy of a copy of a copy, because, like I said, there are many different elements. But Lily Cat works for the elements that it has, like I said, from Alien and The Thing. It did a good job of it. It gave us another type of horror, and multiple. I mean, you have two people. Who are they? You know, why are they aboard the ship? Then you have a mysterious cat aboard, and you have the hostile alien life form. You know, how do you survive all this? So you'll be able to catch this. I know this is out there. I mean, one of the best places to get it is it's being distributed through Discotheque Media. Do check at the end of this video where we'll tell you where you can get a copy of this fantastic horror film. So that's what's on my video shelf this week. Well, we reached that part of the show where basically we look at what you are saying to us. What is on your mind this week? So let's check in with, over here on YouTube. Blue Engineer says, this is a welcome chum bucket all over again. And this is discussing about Family Guy living Adult Swim. This is the original video we put out a while back. And we already know Family Guy has left the Adult Swim family. It's a shame, you know, and people are not happy at this. People are really not. I mean, Family Guy was saved at Adult Swim and had gotten a bigger following because of Adult Swim. Of course, Adult Swim doesn't care. Thank you again, Blue Engineer. George Peter! Internet nowadays is going crazy. It must be a limit. Greetings from Greece. George, greetings to you back at Greece. I hope everything is well. Hope you're doing good over there. This is concerning Russia banning more anime as well. It's still continuing. I mean, I'm still receiving stories from Russia that they're planning to do more bannings of other animes throughout, and we're seeing China even delving into this heavily. I mean, they I think they just banned Ultraman just recently. One of the Ultraman Tigra. I think they just banned that series. Thank you again, George Peter, and I, like I said, I hope you're doing well in Greece. Chris Dolan. Chris, thank you for watching and commenting again. I smell bankruptcy ready to happen. Yes, that's right. Talking about Flight of the Navigator reboot coming. We hope that eventually this will start to bankrupt these companies. Because, I mean, where are they getting their money from? I mean, really, truly sometimes. When they're making these crap projects that don't make them money, I mean, you look at Shang-Chi where it made some money, but that can't pay for everything. There's so much you can go stretch the dollar for every time. And they're cheating in their taxes, obviously. Thank you again, Chris. But we're also going to look at another one from Chris Dolan. Pluto TV has a classic cartoon channel. Oh, they're just like the early days of Cartoon Network. Yeah, there are plenty of channels. Classic. It's in the classic section, and then there's a couple of anime ones on Pluto TV. Some real good classics on there. There's some Beetle Bailey. Yes, they had a Beetle Bailey cartoon. And a bunch of others. I mean, they have Popeye, everything else. Old classics on there. Do check it out on there. But also, Chris, just to let you know, there is a non-profit site called Toonami Aftermath. It's the way it sounds. That's the way you put it in. They have multiple channels on their site, which plays a ton of stuff from the old Toonami days. They got Dragon Ball. They got Sailor Moon. They got all these shows. The Adult Swim, the original Adult Swim shows. Really good site to catch on there. Chris, thank you again. Thank you for being a viewer, and thank you for being a subscriber out there. Devil Luke. Now it's just marathons of John Pereira talks to you again with the Family Guy on there. Yeah, they figured just the other. What was it? About 2 weeks ago, they had Friday night into Saturday. They had a John Pereira. I think that what they did a Brack show, and then they did John Pereira for most of the night. I mean, that is just ridiculous. I mean, John Pereira, was funny at first, but God, he's almost like the energy vampire from What We Do in the Shadows. I'm telling you, and they almost look alike. Thank you again, Devil Luke. Murray Kennedy, talking about the Funimation's box set. I just received my collector's edition. I am completely disappointed. The episodes are not remastered, clean up, or any way improved from the remastered DVDs that were released 15 years ago. Don't buy this unless you want to spend $270 to get a small Veritech / Roy Focal figure. Totally agree with you, Murray, on that. And that's what I said before. And I said it in 2 videos. Don't buy this box set. Funimations has not made a good box set. They are not spending the money to fix these things. This is similar to the Buffy the Vampire Slayer box set. That one is crap as well. People don't understand this, and they still shell out their money to this. Stop shelling your money out for crap. Thank you again, Murray Kennedy. And responding to Murray Kennedy is Say Son, and he puts in, you can only do so much to an anime that came out in 1982. If you compare them side by side, you'll see the differences. Whether it's worth paying $150 to $270 is a different story. I'm disappointed I paid extra $125 for basically a chipboard box, $10 to $15, a Veritech Fighter, $20 to $30, and 3 patches, $5 to $10. Those add up to $55 at most. In a way, you're right, Say Sung, but because depending on the amount that they bought, and I worked on that end of the business, where in the video duplication business, technically it depends on the amount that they purchased. And this is where the price of this products go down. I mean, back when I did the VHS duplications, a $50 VHS tape, VHS movie exercise tape, stuff like that. If they ordered, in the company I worked with, if they ordered over 1 million copies of that, it roughly cost them, including packaging, about $5 to $7 per pack. There was one that ordered millions of it. It was an exercise video on there, and it came down to about, Jesus, less than $1 per on that, and that was including that they had booklets and stuff like that, accessories. So it depends on what it is. Probably because there weren't that many of these made. You're probably right on the target on there. But if they made more of that, I don't think so. Thank you again, Say Son. And Murray Kennedy comes back on this. I see your point, though I would counter that the restored 1977 Star Wars or 1971 Willy Wonka or even Looney Tunes from the 50s are vast improvements from the original, unlike the re-release. Granted, to the original source material for Robotech may be worse shaped than the examples I listed. I'm going to tell you from an expert point of view, and I'm going to tell you for an expert. Years ago, I worked with somebody working with Harmony Gold. The three-quarter masters were in good condition. Were in very good condition for the time period. And this was mid-'80s. Yes, if you look at from about early 80s to mid, the restoration type situations were very difficult to do. As you got to the late 80s into the 90s, you had the inventions of Avid, Grass Valley, Video Toaster. Many other equipment was starting to come into place in the 90s as we were going along. Unlike today, where we have some great software packs and editors and stuff like that. Stuff like what we use on this show is DaVinci Resolve. DaVinci Resolve 17 now we're at. And DaVinci Resolve, for its free version, is one of the best free versions I have ever used. And I've been editing since the 80s. And, I went from linear to non-linear, and I've seen the high-end linear stuff. I saw one of the first Advids. New York, there was a New York studio down near Studio 54 that had there was only two, at the time, only two Advids in the country. One of them was at the studio. The other one was in the possession, supposedly what I was told, by George Lucas. And it was great to see that. Great to sit down in front of that systems on there. But like I said, today, DaVinci Resolve does wonders for the video, especially the color grading. The color grading, if you're a person that works where you do a lot of color grading, use DaVinci Resolve. You'll be very satisfied. Even though if you're a heavy Adobe user and you feel you don't want to switch away, use the DaVinci Resolve just for the color grading. It works very well, and you're able to put it back right into Adobe. So it's very easy to work together as both programs. Thank you again. Pinky Pool Gamer Brony 30. It's a sad day when Family Guy leaves Adult Swim. Absolutely. It's a shame that you have to see stuff like this. And like I said before, Adult Swim lost a big portion of their programming. I mean, whenever you turned on freaking Adult Swim, Family Guy was on. You saw Family Guy, you saw Rick and Morty, you saw Bob's Burgers, American. Are they still doing American Dad? I'm not certain on there. I haven't watched in quite some time on there. Mostly, I've been focusing on just Rick and Morty now these days. Thank you then, Pinky Poodle. G-Force chimes in that Disco Media does a great job, along with many others, and not Funimations. I do 100% agree with you. Discotech Media has some great, I think they just put out Project ACO, and from what I've seen of it, their cut of it looks phenomenal on there. It's very well done. I haven't gone through the whole video. I've only just seen segments of it from what someone showed me. But it looks very clear. It's not as muddy. from the Sci-Fi Channel TV versions. And I mean, you can also watch it on Retro Crush. Retro Crush has the same amount, which it is a remastered version, so it looks good. Supposedly this version Discotheque put out is much better. Thank you again, G-Force. Switching over to Odyssey. Let's see what they had to say on there. At Matthew Downs, commenting on the Star Trek. Damn, it brought a tear to my eye. Bye-bye. Hope for the future. Hello, nightmare. Present dystopia. Yeah, I do agree with that. Star Trek is pretty much dead. You know, some people said, hey, it died in 2009. No, it went in life support in 2009, 2021 when they re-upped Alex Kurtzman. That was it. It was done. Thank you again, Matthew Downs. At Science Definite Edition, on the Sliders reboot, the foundation of Sliders was clearly the actors, the chemistry together, and the distant yet cohesive. Yes, that is correct. The cast put it together. When the cast members started to just one by one started to leave the show, that was the end of that series. Then again, Science Definite Edition comments on the RIP Star Trek. That was a lovely send-off. Thank you very much on that. You know, we did a nice quick video edit on that, and actually we got on YouTube we got copyright hit on that. The acclaim was thrown on that for just about 45 seconds, I think it is on there. But there goes the algorithm gods again. I just want to thank everyone, including those on Odyssey who've commented, those on YouTube. BitChute, you got to move ahead, man. Get some comments on there. And I just want to say thank you to all of those who have subscribed and shared these videos. You know, Saturday Pre-Flight is a program that is growing on all social media platforms. I wish YouTube it would grow a little bit more, but I know BitChute and Odyssey, it has been growing very nice. There's been a nice crowd looking at the programming. We've been looking at our algorithms and seeing where it is we are popular. And I tell you, you're liking the programming, and I'm glad, because we do like bringing these shows, these return to the classics, because there are those out there in Hollywood who wants to erase this. That's why you're seeing all these reboots and movies made for the modern era and stuff like that. No, you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that at all. These are classics. You should leave them untouched. This is why I keep saying Dune is not Frank Herbert's Dune. It may be glorious, beautiful, great soundtrack, but when you have missing characters, race swapping, script changes, you know immediately that there is going to be an issue. That same director did the Blade Runner sequel. He did not understand what a classic noir is. Blade Runner original was a sci-fi noir, and that's what was missing from 2049. I think that was the name of the Blade Runner. It's amazing what these guys do, and we're hoping to bring a lot more classics to you. We have to fight with the algorithm just to show you clips of it. If we show you more pictures on it, note that that's because the algorithm did not allow us to show you those videos. So I suggest go out and check out these videos for you. There are many places that you can see them at. So before we go, two things before we go. You may ask yourself, how can I join in on the conversation? Very easily. You go down below here the screen and look at the comments line and just type away. And be sure to hit a thumbs up or that flame or whatever, whatever that gives us a good critique of the video. It helps us move up in the algorithms, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Odyssey, whether it's BitChute. We do appreciate it. Thank you for calling. We'll see you again. No, I'm kidding. No. Truthfully, straight on, we love your comments, and we need to hear those and your mentions and stuff like that. It's very important. It tells us where we are as far as the show. It helps us. The changes we have made to Man with the Show and a lot of shows here on Cuticast TV is because of you, what you're liking out there. You know, we're staying on top of this. So thank you again. And before we go, let's check in over at MeTV. What's going on with Svengoolie? Svengoolie, what's going on this week?
This week on Svengoolie, Saturday at 8, 7 Central on MeTV.
They must be doing a Frankenstein month over. You know, we had Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein last week. This week will be the 1931 great pre-code classic Frankenstein, starring Boris Karloff, Clive Carlin, Dwight Frye, Edward Van Sloan, Mae Clark, and John Bowles. Yes, understand, this particular Frankenstein is part of the pre-code era, even though there were things removed, re-edited out of this version because of complaints. I don't know if they have, I haven't looked at the newer versions yet. There is a new version coming out, or if it has been released, I haven't looked at that one yet. If they've restored any of the original footage that was removed. There was some footage they couldn't put in there. I don't know if they did shoot it, but there's some documentaries on it that there were some scenes that they wanted to put in and they couldn't, and then there's some scenes that are shot that had to be replaced. And this is just the before the pre-code era of the Hays Code. So you could imagine, as we got into the Hays Code, and you can see the differences of how Frankenstein evolved throughout the years, and what changes were made to this iconic horror creature. And I tell you, I love the original Frankenstein. It is one of the best films out there, black and white. It's great. Never, ever watch a colorized version of this movie or any other black and white movie turned into colorized. You know why? Because basically you take away from the look of the movie. You have to remember, when a movie was made in black and white, it was lit a certain way. By adding color, you're taking away the light on there. They don't balance out for the light effects on there. And to bring it into a color format just brightens everything up. That's all it's doing, is brightening up what it looks like. You know, this was directed by John Wales. And I tell you, they did a great job on it. Universal back then. This is when Universal was a great company to make great films from. I mean, we missed those. I mean, they tried to bring this back, and it was pure crap. So that's 8 p.m. Eastern on your local MeTV on Svengoolie. You can find out, if you don't have MeTV, do check out metv.com to let you know where in the world you can get Svengoolie. Also, check out Antenna Man if you're using a directional antenna to receive MeTV. You may have lost MeTV at certain points due to the FCC selling off a lot of its frequencies to cellular companies on there. So basically, they are crunching in all these frequencies all together. So that means a lot of networks are sharing the same frequencies, and that's why some people have lost their particular channels. One suggestion is check out where MeTV is broadcasting in your area. What direction? Where is their direction antenna? Where their broadcast antenna is. Sometimes pointing it in that direction will help you. Antenna Man, if you use Antenna Man on YouTube, he will direct you to the best antennas if you have to change your antenna indoor or outdoor. Never, ever trust any antenna that says it's 4K on there or 4K ready. You will not receive any 4K channels on there because they truly don't really exist. You know, there are, online, you got 4K. Over the airways, as far as antenna, you're still using high definition on there. We haven't gone beyond that. We haven't reached that technological standpoint where we can shoot out. There will be a time where they're going to increase the level, but the equipment that's being sold today may not work with the equipment that's coming out. So be patient. Things will change properly. Once again, thank you all for tuning in. It has been a pleasure bringing these movies to you. Next week, we have a really going into the sense of the horror genre. I'm going to bring you the definitive zombie flick of all time. And I'm going to show you a segment of it that truly, and it doesn't have any gore in it, it doesn't have any zombies in it, why a segment of this movie is the most terrifying thing in the entire film. And of course, its remake, as good as the remake was, cannot compare to what this director did on there. And here's a little segment.
All right, Dr. Foster, the public needs facts. What do you have to give us?
They kill for one reason. They kill for food. They eat their victims. Do you understand that, Mr. Berman? That's what keeps them going. If we'd listened, if we dealt with this phenomenon properly without...
That's right. Next week, pre-flight, Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, on your local social media, BitChute, YouTube, and Odyssey. Don't miss out. We're delving into some great horror. And also, on my video shelf is a zombie flick you probably never, ever heard of from that era. It is a really good one. Also, do check that out. And of course, we will be checking in with your comments, the quick what's going on in the news in the last couple of weeks with our Fast Five, and much, much more. Be sure to tune in to the end of this program to see where you can get these two videos that you've been watching currently on this program, the two animes, that the Perfect Blue and Lily Cat, where you can go get them or watch them. So tune in for that. So until next time, be sure to hang in there, watch a good classic, buy physical media. The landing gear has touched down, tray tables to the upright positions, and time to depart the aircraft. So until next time, thank you for tuning in, and bye-bye now.